Have you ever wondered what happens when a small nation stands its ground against a global superpower on the high seas? On August 11th, 2025, the West Philippine Sea witnessed an event that stunned observers worldwide. Scarboro Shoal, a tiny but strategically significant patch of reef, suddenly became the stage for a high-speed maritime drama, ending with two Chinese vessels colliding in a spray of salt water and steel. It wasn't just an accident, it was a flashpoint in an ongoing territorial struggle, one that has been simmering for years and now threatens to reshape the balance of power in the region. The incident instantly lit up news feeds, military briefings, and diplomatic hotlines. What unfolded that day was more than just a maritime mishap. It was a symbolic moment in the broader fight for sovereignty. But before we dive into the heart of this tense encounter, let me welcome you to the place where we go far deeper than headlines allow. Welcome to Now, Leo Know. Here we go beyond surface-level news to explore the stories that truly matter. From global conflicts to untold facts, we dive deep to help you understand the why behind today's most pressing issues. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss a moment that could change how you see the world. Now, let's return to the Scarboro Shoal, because what happened on that August afternoon might just be a turning point in the South China Sea's turbulent history. The Philippine Coast Guard's BRP Suluan was carrying out a humanitarian mission to deliver aid to Filipino fishermen when it encountered a massive Chinese maritime presence. 7 China Coast Guard vessels and 14 militia ships swarmed the area, forming an almost impenetrable blockade. Amid this tension, CCG 3104 attempted a high-risk maneuver only to collide with a Chinese Navy warship, number 164. The collision was not minor. The bow of CCG 3104 was rendered unseaworthy, a rare embarrassment for Beijing. Commodore J. Tariella of the Philippine Coast Guard described the incident as a textbook example of China's gray zone tactics backfiring. Gray zone tactics are subtle, coercive actions designed to assert control without triggering outright war. They include harassment with water cannons, blinding lasers, and swarming with maritime militia vessels. The Scarboro Shaw collision revealed the limits of such maneuvers, showing that even meticulous planning can unravel under pressure. Globally, the incident captured attention not just for the spectacle, but for its broader implications. It highlighted the tension between legal claims under international law and the practical reality of maritime coercion. Observers were left asking, how far will China push, and how determined will the Philippines remain? This incident is more than a headline. It's a clear demonstration of a small nation's ability to uphold its rights while maintaining a presence in contested waters. The stakes, both regional and global, could not be higher. To understand why Scarboro Shaw is so critical, we must look beyond the dramatic collision. The Philippines' claim rests on 3 pillars: proximity, historical treaties, and international law. Located just 124 nautical miles from Luzon, Scarboro Shaw is within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. For generations, Filipino fishermen have relied on these waters for sustenance and livelihood. This is not just a geopolitical dispute. It's about families, heritage, and national pride. The waters have fed communities, supported local markets, and shaped coastal traditions for decades. China, however, claims Scarboro Shaw based on ancient records and historical maps, including surveys dating back to the 13th century. These claims are encapsulated in the infamous 9-dash line, which sweeps across almost the entire South China Sea, overlapping the EEZs of several Southeast Asian nations. The disparity between proximity-based claims and historical maps creates a persistent flashpoint. While the Philippines emphasizes legal principles and tangible use, China leans on historical interpretation and broad territorial assertions. The real turning point came in 2012 when the Philippine Navy sought to apprehend Chinese fishermen accused of poaching. Chinese maritime surveillance vessels intervened, escalating the standoff. Beijing quickly established a constant presence, effectively blocking Filipino fishermen from their traditional grounds. The Scarboro Shaw conflict represents more than territorial ambition. It embodies the tension between the rule of law and raw coercive power, challenging how smaller nations navigate global disputes while protecting sovereignty and resources. In 2016, the Philippines took a bold step, seeking international arbitration at The Hague to challenge China's sweeping claims. The ruling was clear. The 9-dash line had no legal standing, and Scarboro Shaw was affirmed as a traditional fishing ground for all. This decision reinforced international law and validated the Philippines' stance under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. It also showcased how legal frameworks can mediate disputes between nations with unequal power. But China's response? Dismissive, declaring the ruling null and void while ramping up its maritime operations. This blatant disregard for international decisions highlights the challenges of enforcing compliance against powerful states. Despite global backing from the US, Japan, and Australia, China's presence at Scarboro Shaw shows the difficulty of enforcement without military escalation. These legal victories, while symbolically significant, don't guarantee control over contested waters. They offer a diplomatic framework, but depend on consistent presence and strategic deterrence to be effective. The ongoing dynamic between law and enforcement shapes the West Philippine Sea dispute, stressing the need for vigilance and international cooperation. Gray zone tactics are subtle, coercive actions that exist between peace and war, aiming to intimidate without direct confrontation. In maritime disputes, these tactics include harassment of vessels, use of water cannons, and crowding waters with militia boats. The Scarborough Shaw collision is a prime example of a gray zone tactic gone awry, damaging one of China's own warships. Experts call this the gray zone paradox. The more aggressively control is enforced, the greater the risk of miscalculations. This incident reveals the fragility of coercive strategies and the importance of real-time intelligence and disciplined maneuvering in contested waters. China is incrementally enforcing control, testing the Philippines and the world's patience. Each move ramps up pressure while steering clear of outright conflict. The Scarborough Shaw collision was a pivotal moment involving both the China Coast Guard and the PLA Navy. This mix of law enforcement and military action raises the stakes significantly. Philippine authorities are responding with presence, diplomacy, and strategic partnerships. Joint patrols with allies send a clear message: illegal coercion won't go unanswered. Global focus on the West Philippine Sea is intensifying, highlighting its importance for trade and security. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for policymakers seeking stability in contested areas. Over 60% of global maritime trade flows through the South China Sea, valued in trillions. Disruptions here could send shockwaves through global supply chains, affecting everything from fuel to electronics. Scarborough Shaw isn't just about fishing, it's a vital corridor for global economies. Maintaining freedom of navigation is essential for regional and global stability. The August 2025 collision shows how quickly tactical missteps can escalate. Even minor incidents in this high-stakes environment can have major repercussions. Philippine presence in these waters asserts sovereignty and deters aggressive actions. It's a delicate balance of law, strategy, and diplomacy. This region's significance goes beyond economics. It's a testament to smaller nations asserting their rights. The West Philippine Sea is a proving ground for maritime law, military strategy, and resilience. Manila's response to the collision was swift and decisive. The Department of Foreign Affairs lodged a diplomatic protest emphasizing China's reckless conduct. President Marcos reaffirmed our commitment to protect our territory and citizens at sea. The United States, bound by the Mutual Defense Treaty, reiterated its readiness to support us if attacked. Japan and Australia echoed their support for freedom of navigation, strengthening regional deterrence. Joint patrols and coordinated exercises have increased, signaling a new era of cooperation and strategic alignment. These moves enhance our ability to enforce maritime rights and respond to coercive tactics. Global reactions reignited discussions on the efficacy of international law in holding major powers accountable. While treaties provide a legal framework, enforcement depends on presence, alliances, and cooperation. The Scarboro Shaw collision illustrates the interplay between national resolve, alliance commitments, and global norms in managing maritime disputes. The BRP Suluan was on a humanitarian mission when the incident occurred, highlighting the human dimension of maritime disputes. Filipino fishermen depend on these waters for their livelihoods, and blockades threaten their communities. This conflict affects more than national pride. It impacts daily lives and sustenance. Disrupted access impacts local markets and family economies, threatening traditional fishing practices. By maintaining a steady presence, we safeguard sovereignty and the livelihoods of our citizens. Protecting these waters ensures economic, cultural, and social stability is preserved. The incident reinforces the need for a balance between military vigilance and humanitarian consideration. Enforcement actions must safeguard people while asserting national interests, strengthening credibility both domestically and internationally. The Scarborough collision teaches us vital lessons about international relations and maritime strategy. Even powerful nations can miscalculate, showing vulnerability in tense situations. Small nations can effectively assert their rights using legal and diplomatic tools. Preparedness and disciplined operations are key to minimizing risks in maritime environments. The BRP Suluan's navigation under pressure highlights professional seamanship and strategic planning. Gray zone tactics may be subtle, but they're not foolproof. The Scarborough collision proves that coercive strategies can backfire against resilience and vigilance. International law is crucial, but it needs enforcement through alliances and advocacy. Small nations must balance assertiveness with diplomacy to prevent escalation. Transparency and documentation, like video footage, enhance accountability for international observers. Scarboro Shaw symbolizes sovereignty, resilience, and strategic foresight in the South China Sea. The August 2025 collision emphasizes the impact of gray zone tactics and the strength of international law. This incident serves as a case study in maritime strategy and the balance between law and power. It shows how cooperation and alliances can uphold principles against larger adversaries. Local communities benefit from the Philippines' presence, preserving livelihoods and cultural heritage. For policymakers and strategists, Scarboro Shaw illustrates the importance of preparation and persistence. Understanding the interplay of law, power, and strategy helps navigate conflict and promote stability. The Scarboro Shaw incident reminds us that vigilance and informed action can shape outcomes against the odds.
If this story inspired you or even made you think, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful insights like this. Your voice matters. Let's keep this conversation going and let's grow together.